Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 411. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday and greetings from Sin City. Tonight on the program, we're going to discuss the dickbag Leon Black a little bit more. Because guess what? It's not just us who aren't buying his BS. Nobody on Wall Street's buying it either. There's a new article out in Vanity Fair, and that's basically the gist of this article that we're going to dig into tonight. Now, I've reached out to a couple of people I know, ex-colleagues who work in the financial sector, work in Manhattan, down on Wall Street, and they say that it's been an absolute coup in that boardroom, according to word on the street. Meaning, there is no way that Leon Black can play this off like he was not pushed out by Joshua Harris. This wasn't like some kind of consensus thing. Leon Black was forcefully pushed out here. And word on the street is he's not going to be chairman either for very much longer. Now, again, those are unsubstantiated rumors, just scuttlebutt from people in the industry. But these folks are usually pretty spot on when they're talking about stuff like this. You know, when we're dealing with big trust funds or hedge fund managers, and there's a injury, quote unquote, or, you know, somebody looks like they're weak, well, it's just like in nature. Sharks in the water, when they smell blood, what happens? They go in for the kill, even if it's one of their own. So it's no different at this ultra high level of the financial sector. It's a killer be killed kind of world, and Leon Black is floating around right now with his dorsal fin hardly intact. So you know that the sharks are in the shallows as we speak, and that Leon Black most certainly has not heard the end of this. The bit of him sticking around as chairman that was his way of trying to make it not look as bad, in my opinion, right? To try and save as much face as possible. But even that is going to be ripped from him relatively soon. Because at the end of the day, no one's buying what Leon Black is selling anymore. Our article tonight is from Vanity Fair. Headline: What a sad tale of sycophants. Wall Street isn't buying Leon Black's Epstein story. Deckert's report on the Apollo co-founder's decades-long dealings with the late convicted sex offender, pedophile, including payments of $158 million, is raising eyebrows and more questions on Wall Street. One lawyer dismissed it as a whitewash. Well, let's go back in time. Pretty sure that's what I say about every single one of these so-called impartial investigations that are initiated by the company who's in trouble. Oh, yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. The people that you're paying are going to go out and find, they're going to dig extra hard for that dirt. Or are they going to just try and dig deep enough to make it look like they did their job, while at the same time saving you the embarrassment and the eventual black eye of your real transgressions and your real actions? And I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels like that. I'm glad that this lawyer feels the same way, because I'm certainly not a lawyer, right? I'm just your average, everyday person, like the rest of you folks, you know. Know enough to be dangerous about most of the world, right? But sometimes when you look at something and it doesn't make sense, and people try and tell you that an ostrich is a duck, well, I'm not going to believe the gaslighting. I'm going to go with what I know and what I can see and what I can prove. And folks, Leon Black is a duck. Most certainly isn't an ostrich. This article was authored by William D. Cohen. Nice try, Leon. You must think we are pretty stupid, gullible, or insane to believe the tale you spun to Deckert, the Wall Street firm, about your decades-long involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, the late convicted pedophile. Well, I, for one, am not buying it, not any of it, and neither are many other smart Wall Streeters. What a sad tale of sycophants, was the way one longtime Wall Street banker explained it to me. Added a Wall Street lawyer, it's preposterous. And I'm telling you, folks, that's what my people were telling me too, that this is a bunch of BS, right? That this is the kind of thing that only Leon Black or somebody as powerful as him could try and pull off. This is so brazen and so ridiculous that he's trying to actually make us, force feed us this narrative. It is straight up gaslighting. We all know the truth and the score. Look, the receipts don't lie. You're not paying this dude $158 million to come over and yap about, the state of the stock market. Give me a break. Nobody's buying any of that shit. So really, Leon Black, the real question is, you ginormous dickbag, what was the money really for? Leon is, of course, Leon Black, one of the billionaire co-founders of Apollo Global Management, the publicly traded private equity and investment firm with around $350 billion under management. Chew on that number for a little while, folks. $350 billion. That's the capital that is under his control. I mean, wow. So this guy's in control of all of that money. He's in control of a bunch of different pensions and in control of all kinds of different financial futures for people. But yet he's relying on the Coney Island hot dog salesman Jeffrey Epstein. That's what he's relying on, huh? I'm sure that just instills all sorts of confidence in the people who entrusted their money to him. But let me tell you, I would have my money out of there so quickly that you wouldn't even know what hit you if you were Apollo Global. According to Bloomberg, Black has a net worth of nearly $10 billion. That's with a B, folks. Of course he has a private jet and a luxury yacht and lots of fancy homes. In 2012, he paid nearly $120 million for one artwork, one of the 4 versions of Edvard Munch's 1895 pastel, The Scream. Well, now that he's out over at Apollo, him and his art collection will have a lot of time to console each other. He has a world-class art collection. Cost about $1 billion. It doesn't say it here in this article, but that's what the estimated worth of his art collection is. Now, think about that for a minute. $1 billion in art. It's just obscene. He is also the chairman of the board of trustees at the Museum of Modern Art. His wife, Deborah, is on the board of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. He is rich and powerful. That means he can hire what appear to be reputable law firms to put their stamp of approval on a version of the truth that is not likely to be independently verified by anyone not getting paid by Black or by Apollo. That's not the same as transparency. Folks, it's almost as if the author here has been digging around in my head and coming up with some different ideas, because this is all the same stuff I talk about all the time. This is BS. And the way that these people get away with it, with these independent investigations that they're paying for, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'll tell you what. If we've learned anything lately with Wall Street bets, it's that we have the power. The power of the people is still what works, folks. You know how I always say one gnat can be ignored, but 10 million, well, that's a different story. And you're seeing that with Reddit and with Wall Street. And, when we come together and we work towards a common goal, even the richest and most powerful amongst us have to take heed. And that's why I am always railing about us fighting with each other. It's ridiculous. It has to stop. The tribalism and shit has to stop. These people, folks, are the real problem. These hedge funders, these financial banker types who are legitimately working on a daily basis to make our lives worse. Don't you remember Occupy Wall Street? When all of these hedge funders were literally looking down at people, sipping from their glasses of champagne after they literally bankrupted the whole entire country? How many companies were ruined? How many people's pensions were ruined? I know personally more than a handful of people who still have not recovered. And yet these banksters, these dickbags like Leon Black and the rest of them sit there and sip their bubbly, eat their caviar, and continue to enable sick bastards like Jeffrey Epstein. In October, the Conflicts Committee of the Apollo Board of Directors, which is 3 people, by the way, hired Deckert to conduct a thorough investigation into the relationship between Black and Epstein after the New York Times reported that Black had paid Epstein at least $50 million for Epstein's services. And again, props to the New York Times for actually going the extra mile here. And I get it, right? They did it because they don't like Leon Black. He's a dickbag, and you know, it's always nice to slam a scumbag billionaire's face in their own waste, right? So I get why they went after him or they're going after him, but I'd love to see this kind of zeal with other people involved in this case. And it doesn't matter who. Go after them all. Trump, Mnuchin, Clinton, you name it, go after them. Wexner. Let's see that zeal from these journalists. Let's see them earn people's trust back, because it's at an all-time low. Nobody trusts the media. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, and it's because they make shitbag moves. It's because people look at them like they're corrupt or they're tilted one way or the other. Here's an idea. How about you just report the facts and follow the evidence wherever it leads? Over the years, there has been a lot of bad press about the relationship between Black and Epstein, and many rumors, but the Times report appeared to be the last straw for some of the members of the Apollo board. The Conflict Committee comprises Michael Ducey, its chairman, a consultant, and something of a professional board member, AP Buzzy Krongard, the former CEO of Alex Brown & Sons, the defunct investment bank, and a former executive director of the CIA. And Pauline Richards, a former insurance executive, like Ducey, a professional board member. Isn't that nice, huh? Got yourself a former executive director of the CIA. That's exactly what we need. The financial world and the CIA holding hands and playing patty cake, huh? Do you understand yet, folks? Do you see why I'm always railing about the CIA? It's not just some sort of half-cocked rant. These people are involved in everything. Everything. And they shouldn't be. During its 3-month investigation, Deckert reported that it reviewed more than 60,000 documents voluntarily provided to it by Black, his family office, Apollo executives, and by Apollo's outside counsel, Paul Weiss. Deckert said it spoke with more than 20 individuals, some more than once, including Black, and also on a voluntary basis. Deckert did not have the ability to subpoena either documents or witnesses. Yeah, no shit, it wasn't through the court. Of course they didn't. They act like it was this big investigation, but Deckert, they had no power to compel Leon Black to turn over documents or to be completely honest. So how can anyone believe what the hell's going on over here? Give me a break. I said it from the beginning, folks, that this was a gigantic game of BS. And that's what it was. That's what this investigation was. And even with them being in the bag for Leon Black and Apollo, they still found $100 million that Leon Black wasn't honest about when it comes to his financing Jeffrey Epstein or being in bed with Jeffrey Epstein financially. So if you're lying about that, what else are you lying about? According to the Deckert Report, which was dated January 22nd and then filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, Black and Epstein had a social relationship from the mid-1990s to 2018. Are you kidding me right now? From the mid-90s to 2018. That's right around the time that Jeffrey Epstein started visiting Bill Clinton in the White House, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. So this dude, Leon Black, was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for all of these years. He knew that Jeffrey Epstein was a sick pervert. He knew that Jeffrey Epstein was trying to not only recruit and groom underage girls, but he was also abusing them. Unless you lived under a rock or on Mars or in a place without any sort of internet service or news service, you knew exactly what Jeffrey Epstein was up to. They were introduced by an unnamed mutual friend. An unnamed mutual friend, huh? I wonder who that could be. That'll be a fun investigation to go on, folks. That's your homework assignment for the weekend. Who's the mutual friend? Black viewed Epstein as someone who was very intelligent and knowledgeable regarding issues relating to estate planning and taxation, the report allowed. In 1997, Black appointed Epstein to be one of the initial directors of the Black Family Foundation, established to facilitate his charitable giving. I mean, does this sound like somebody who really wasn't too connected to Jeffrey Epstein, folks? Sure doesn't sound that way to me. Sure sounds to me like this is somebody who was very much connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Sounds to me like somebody who knew all of Leon Black's secrets and somebody who Leon Black, well, you know, fellow travelers and all. Black apparently was impressed that David Rockefeller had appointed Epstein to the board of Rockefeller University, a scientific research university on the east side of Manhattan. Yeah, because the Rockefeller family is just fantastic human beings as well. Another group of so-called elites that I could do without, that I've had a belly full of. According to the Deckert Report, Black's understanding was that Epstein was extremely knowledgeable about science and technology, as well as a strong proponent of scientific research and development. Epstein had somehow convinced Black, one of our most gifted financial engineers, that he was the ultimate autodidact, exceptionally skilled in both the arcane rules of tax structuring and estate planning, and also scientific research. Oh, yeah, because, you know, Jeffrey Epstein was all of those things, right? And he had the resume to prove it. So what Leon Black wants us to believe is anybody could just walk into his office and start railing about what they've done or what they've accomplished and get the job? Because he certainly didn't have the resume to get this kind of job. That's certainly the case. He didn't graduate from any fancy college. What was he ever involved in that would garner him that kind of respect from somebody like Leon Black? According to the Deckert Report, Epstein introduced Black to well-regarded researchers at MIT and Harvard. Epstein stayed on the Black Family Foundation board for about 10 years, until he resigned in the mid-2007, the year before his conviction for pedophilia. Because of an oversight, the foundation reported to the IRS that Epstein remained on its board until 2012. When the mistake was discovered in 2013, the reporting was changed. Oh yeah, I'm sure that was just a mistake. That is all that was, folks. Come on. How dare anyone think that they would keep sick-ass Jeffrey Epstein on their board after his arrest? Not Leon Black, because Leon Black is such a pillar of the community, such an upstanding citizen. Black's reputation on Wall Street was as a ruthless deal maker. He learned his craft at Drexel Burnham Lambert, the defunct investment bank, and from its superstar banker Michael Milken, a recently pardoned convicted criminal who helped create the junk bond market. Michael Milken was an absolute scumbag. Another scumbag financial jerk. And, well, guess what? Another jerk from the financial sector, or I guess you should say from the so-called elite sector, well, he just pardoned him. Black was head of mergers and acquisitions at Drexel before it blew up. In one of Apollo's earliest deals, it negotiated to buy, at a significant discount, the bond portfolio of Executive Life Insurance Company, which had failed after, among other things, buying too many Drexel underwritten junk bonds. Boy, isn't that ironic, huh? The irony never ceases to amaze me. So this company, who bought a bunch of underwritten junk bonds from Drexel, where Leon Black worked, went defunct because of those junk bonds, and then Leon Black went in and bought them all up. Hell of a guy, that Leon Black. How about we have him over for dinner? Black was highly adept at fighting for the last penny in deals, and was one of Wall Street's most feared vulture investors. The people who buy bonds of distressed companies at a discount and then get control of companies by converting the debt they own to equity. Hostile takeover. And what they would do is then they would liquidate that shit. And they don't care if people lose jobs or careers or whatever. It doesn't matter to them. When they say vulture investor, there should be a picture of Leon Black in the dictionary. As Apollo grew, Black and his growing team engineered bigger and bigger deals. Among its biggest successes are LyondellBasell, a chemical company, ADT, the security company, and among its biggest flops are Caesars Entertainment and Linens and Things. I remember with the Caesars Entertainment situation, and that didn't turn out well for them at all. Caesars has been on a decline for quite some time now, and even Mr. Dickbag Leon Black couldn't stop that. For reasons that Deckert does not completely make clear, Black, the rapacious financier, Bloomberg once referred to him as the most feared man in the most aggressive realm of finance, had a soft spot for Epstein even after his 2008 guilty plea for soliciting prostitution and procuring a person under the age of 18 for prostitution. Oh no, it wasn't a soft spot. These dudes were connected, they were buddies, and it wasn't even about a soft spot. It was about Leon Black willing to overlook Jeffrey Epstein's behavior because they had themselves a nice, disgusting, parasitic relationship. According to Deckert, Black believes in rehabilitation and giving people second chances. Yeah? How many felons does he have working for his company? How many ex-felons are working for Apollo Global in the financial sector? I'm guessing not many. So how many people have you given second chances to by giving them jobs, Dickbag Black? That's also why, Deckert wrote, Black has stayed friendly with both Milken and Martha Stewart, who have spent time in prison for financial crimes, you asshole. Okay? You can come back from that. Financial crimes, while it makes you an absolute piece of shit, you can come back from. You can be sorry about it. You can rehabilitate yourself. You can make amends. There's no coming back from sexual assaulting children. There's no coming back from human trafficking. Apparently, Black seemed to be converted to a pushover for two other reasons. First, Black believed Epstein when he said he had only solicited a minor for prostitution once, and that Epstein mistakenly understood the prostitute in question. Well, hold on. The prostitute in question? You mean the little girl in question, okay? Let's get our words right, Vanity Fair. You've done enough to hurt the people involved in this case with your 2003 puff piece. So don't even get me started on you, Vanity Fair. Prostitute? This was a little girl. In question was older, and second, because so many other rich and influential people, including CEOs and Nobel laureates, still hung out with him. So, if your friends are doing it, you should do it too, because that's a great idea. I know when I was younger, My mom used to say something to me all the time. And she would say, if your friends all jumped off a cliff, would you follow them and do the same thing? And it's the same thing here, Leon Black. What, your mom never told you that one? Never gave you that old adage? This guy's an absolute douche. And the fact that these CEOs and Nobel laureates are hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein and helping him refurbish his image, don't you see that's part of the problem, dickbag Black? So how about for once, you idiots in the financial sector, stop being part of the problem? Oh, it was just so cozy. Black viewed Epstein as a friend worthy of his trust, according to Deckert. They attended social events together. Black confided in Epstein on personal matters, and Black introduced Epstein to his family. Black regularly visited Epstein's townhouse in New York to either discuss business or to meet other prominent guests who were visiting Epstein, including well-known businessmen, political figures, diplomats, scientists, and celebrities. Well, did you ever get a massage there, Mr. Black? That's the question that should really be asked. I want to know, did Leon Black ever get a massage at Jeffrey Epstein's? Point blank, period. Is anyone ever going to ask him that? Maybe I should shoot him an email and see what he has to say. In general, one-on-one breakfast meetings between Black and Epstein would be more common for business meetings, whereas afternoon meetings with other guests would be more common for social visits. Black invited Epstein to his son's 30th birthday party in the Hamptons in 2015, according to someone who was there. These days, apparently, Black is contrite and would not have given Epstein a second chance had he known more about Epstein's criminal activity, according to the Deckert report. Such BS, okay? Nobody believes you. Not the penguins, not the polar bears. Nobody believes you. And you're another one. Inviting Epstein to your son's birthday party in 2015, it was well established what Jeffrey Epstein was by 2015. Who in the hell actually believes this? Turns out, according to Deckert, the Times was off by more than $100 million in its estimates of payments from Black to Epstein. In the years between 2012 and 2017, that is after his second chance started and after a 2011 report in the Daily Mail about Epstein's continued atrocious behavior, Black paid Epstein $158 million for advice on issues including tax, estate planning, and structuring that, Deckert wrote, saved Black between $1 billion and $2 billion. $158 million for his advice. That's what they want you to believe. I do not believe that. Somehow, we are supposed to believe that Jeffrey Epstein, a college dropout who taught math for about 2 years at the Dalton School on the Upper East Side and then worked at Bear Stearns before being fired, is responsible for between 10% and 20% of Leon Black's net worth. What did I say the other day? I mean, maybe I should start writing some articles. I guess iTunes will probably find a way to limit that as well, so maybe I'll just keep to running my fat mouth. But I've been saying this for how long, folks? Everything that this gentleman is saying in this article is all the stuff I've been saying for literally months about Leon Black and Jeffrey Epstein and how deep the ties ran. Apparently, Epstein's big break for Black came in 2012 when he solved what the report says was a mounting problem in a grantor trust that Black had established in 2006 with the help of a trust and estates attorney recommended to Black by, wait for it, Epstein. But the flaw in the trust, if not fixed, would have cost Black between $500 million to $1 billion or more, Deckert wrote. There seems to be no plausible explanation for how Black allowed this to happen or why a tax expert would make such a colossal mistake. Black tried to solve the problem with all his experts, but he couldn't, alas. Oh yeah, I'm sure. All of his experts couldn't figure it out. He had to go to Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein is the man with a plan. We're talking, remember Russell Crowe's character in A Beautiful Mind? Just looks at all the numbers and can figure out the equations right there, no matter how big or long. That's Jeffrey Epstein, obviously. We're talking about Albert Einstein reincarnated, folks. If we only would have known what a genius was amongst us. But Epstein could. He claimed his solution was proprietary, according to Deckert. Black asked outside legal counsel to vet Epstein's solution and to watch over Epstein generally. Why didn't Black's legal counsel just do his tax and estate work for much less money? One wonders. Yeah, why not? All of these people around him, this huge company Apollo, they don't have tax people. They don't have some of the best people in the world. You got to go out and bring in a mercenary like Jeffrey Epstein, huh? Okay. According to Deckert, Epstein had hit a grand slam because his idea met all of Black's financial and estate planning goals. In 2013, Black and Epstein signed a contract for services, including the implementation of Epstein's solution. Usually, Epstein told Black, he would charge a client $40 million a year for his advice, but he offered to give Black a break, $23.5 million, which was paid to Epstein in 2 installments in 2013. Even by Wall Street standards, the fees Black agreed to pay Epstein were preposterous. You could buy a law firm for what Leon agreed to pay Epstein, a retired CEO told me. No shit. I've been telling you guys that forever. Everybody I know that works in the financial sector just shakes their head and rolls their eyes when they see these kind of numbers being thrown around. You got to understand, these people, they don't want to let a cent leave their fingers. So paying this kind of money for advice for these narcissistic alphas like Leon Black, it just doesn't happen, folks. Based on the Grand Slam, Black agreed to hire Epstein again in mid-2013 for future services, agreeing to abide by terms similar to the initial contract, but apparently without a signed agreement. According to Deckert, Black paid Epstein in total of $50 million in 2013 and on an ad hoc basis, another $70 million in 2014 and another $30 million in 2015. Wait, I thought his fee was only $23.5 million. What's going on here? Why is it getting bumped up? All of a sudden, you don't get the homie hookup no more there, Leon. I'm going to need the full 30. I'm going to need 50. I'm going to need 70. Pay up, pay up, pay up. I mean, really? Epstein went on to advise Black about some loans he had made to certain family trusts, which appeared to save Black some money. His art collection, his yacht, and his airplane, which apparently unnerved a broker of private jets, who was not pleased because, according to Deckert, the broker knew Epstein was sophisticated when it came to airplanes and that it would be hard to negotiate against Epstein. Once again, we are asked to believe that Jeffrey Epstein was a better negotiator than Leon Black. No, I will not believe it. I am sorry, I will not believe it. There's nothing that anyone can do to prove to me or show me that Jeffrey Epstein's a better negotiator than Leon effing Black. I know Leon Black. I know his reputation. I know the way people think of him on Wall Street. And I know that this dude is not ceding power to Jeffrey Epstein, not today, not yesterday, not in 1,000 years from now. There is more, of course. Not all of it fully explained. $20.5 million of unpaid loans to Epstein from Black, a dispute between the two men over Epstein wanting even more money from Black that led to their falling out in 2018. But the report suggests that it was all legit and that the value Epstein provided to Black substantially exceeded the total compensation that Black paid to him, while also noting that Black paid more in fees to Epstein than he paid to any other professional. Imagine that, huh? Of all the professionals Leon Black's working with, all the people in his realm and in his atmosphere, Jeffrey Epstein was the person he paid the most money to. Why? Concurrent with the release of the Deckert report, Black agreed to resign as Apollo CEO in July, around his 70th birthday, but will remain chairman of the board. Mark Rowan, one of Apollo's founders, will succeed Black. Josh Harris, another Apollo co-founder who is reportedly angling to succeed Black, has, at least publicly, endorsed Rowan as CEO. There's more going on there, folks, right? I don't have any proof of that, but there is a struggle going on behind closed doors. Rowan had taken a step back. He was basically in self-imposed retirement. And now all of a sudden he steps back up and into the plate, and Harris is getting pushed to the side again? Do you really think that Harris is okay with that? I highly doubt it. Black also agreed to donate $200 million to initiatives that seek to achieve gender equality and protect and empower women, according to a statement, including those that help survivors of sexual assault and human trafficking. Deckert's report cleared him of wrongdoing, of course. These are not the droids you are looking for. And it really is that, right? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do the old Jedi mind trick on us, right? Wave their hand in front of us and say, all right, this is it. No big deal. It's all good. It was a bad judgment call by Leon Black. That's all. The Wall Street lawyer says it's all just a load of crap. He uses the words whitewash and cover up. His unproven theory is that Black was using Epstein to pass money to people who he didn't want to be associated with by name. There's no way Jeffrey Epstein was keeping $158 million, he says. An Apollo spokesperson did not respond to questions about whether Black used Epstein as a conduit to pay others in this manner, or if Black had any plans to return as the CEO after he gives up the position in July. So, again, what was that money being used for? Why was Jeffrey Epstein being given all of this money? Very possible that Jeffrey Epstein was washing this money and laundering it and then distributing it to people that Black was in business with, that he didn't want his name associated with in public. I know, it sounds like a movie and shit, right? But this is reality, folks. And now that the drapes have been pulled back, the curtains have been pulled back, and you folks have gotten a little look behind, there's no going back from this. There's only going forward. Apollo's board, allowing Black to remain as chairman, reminds the lawyer of the old Wall Street saw, the king horse can talk strategy. There's a plot against the king, he explains. The king catches the head plotter. He throws him in the dungeon and says, 2 weeks hence, off with his head. The plotter is down in the dungeon in the bottom of the castle. He whispers to the guard, look, before the king kills me, he better realize that I can make his horse talk. The guy says, yeah, sure. He goes, no, I mean it. You better tell the king. I can make his horse talk. The guard wanders upstairs, sees the king, says, look, I don't know whether to make heads or tails of this, but the guy says that he can make your horse talk. The king says, let me think about it. The guard goes back downstairs. The guy says, what did the king say? The king said he'd think about it, and the guy smiles. The guard said, what are you smiling about? You can't make his horse talk. He says, well, a lot of things can happen between now and 2 weeks hence. The horse could die. The king could die. And who knows? I might figure out a way to make the horse talk. So Leon, in his mind, has between now and July to make the horse talk. Josh could die. Mark could die. Anything could happen. Yo, folks, that little story there sums it up perfectly. That is everything I've been telling you about this and the situation that we find ourselves in with Apollo Global. I have known Mark Rowan for more than 25 years. I used to cover him at Apollo when I was a banker at Merrill Lynch. I used to try to present him with actionable ideas, companies that Apollo might want to buy that were open to being bought. I shared with him a bunch of ideas, a few of which Apollo ended up doing. But Apollo never paid Merrill any fees as a result of my ideas. I get the sense that Apollo was not the kind of firm that would let anyone get $1 out of them if it could be avoided, let alone $158 million. Rowan is now a billionaire. In May 2009, Rowan gave a talk to the Jewish Enrichment Center. He got to talking about people he worked for over the years. I worked directly for Dennis Levine, a former Drexel M&A banker who went to jail and then went to work for Marty Siegel, another Drexel M&A banker who also went to jail. I then moved out to California to work for Mike Milken, who also went to jail. There are so many ethical dilemmas you are presented with over your career. The choices you make just determine who you are over time. And if that's the case, then the person that Leon Black has been determined to be over the course of time is certainly not somebody that any of us would want to be. Because this dude and his choices and his very, very strong relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is not just going to go away. And for Leon Black to think that he is just buying himself some time right now and waiting to cruise right back into his position, well, I think maybe he should give the Joe Exotic of the Windsor family a phone call and see how that's going for him. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that go with this episode can be found in the description box. And folks, make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast at whatever platform that you get it from. That way you get it as soon as it's uploaded. All right, everybody, enjoy your Friday night. Please do not drink and drive, and I will be back tomorrow.